Everything you need to know about the Vigo Dem Party. So sit back, relax, and watch from anywhere. Get ready for a chat with the chair.
I'm Joe Etling, Chair of the Vigo County Democratic Central Committee, and welcome to the award-winning Chat with the Chair. Delighted you can join us. Merry Christmas early for all of you. Hopefully you're getting your shopping done. Only X number of shopping days till Christmas. My list is out there. We'll post it so you make sure you get it filled before Christmas. We got a great show tonight. Awesome guest. Huge celebrity. I mean huge celebrity here with us. He's been with us before, and we are delighted that he could come back and join us. He needs no introduction, but remind our viewers who you are.
Who am I? Celebrity. The eating has gotten me. I get bigger every time I come. But no, Josh Schertz. I'm a basketball coach at Indiana State.
Coach Schertz, welcome into the chat. We're delighted you came back to see us again. You've always been a wealth of information when you come in here. And of course, many people have been out following the Sycamores. You're wearing the Sycamore blue. Things are rolling in Holman Center. Talk about how things are going around the Schertz household and in Holman Center.
Well, things are going better in the Holman Center than they are in the Schertz household, I can tell you. Nat home, Natalia's on my butt. I got all kinds of constant, criticism, complaining. Then you go out, in the Holman Center, at least I can be the boss at basketball. I come home.
Is that right?
Yeah, then she's the boss, and I gotta. So try to spend as much time at work as possible. That's the biggest thing. Stay at work. That way I'm not getting bossed around as much. I come home, I get bossed around. So.
Well, we're encouraging all our viewers to get out to the Holman Center, and so we might start there. Things have changed, it looks like, in the Holman Center aesthetically since you arrived. Talk about that.
Yeah, huge addition. Obviously, they completed just before I got here that huge renovation, the $50 million renovation, and is, I think, from where it was in terms of the seating and the concourse and everything around, the exterior of the building is brand new. And then the addition of the Jumbotron, the George family donating the $2 million and giving us an opportunity. We have the new Jumbotron and the new ribbons around the arena with all the LED stuff. It's what they have in the NBA and in Cleveland and Quicken Loans Arena and in Phillips Arena with the Hawks. So, you're talking about state of the art. And, the Missouri Valley is a league with great facilities. It's an unbelievable basketball league and a league that's committed to the sport of basketball. And I would put the Holman Center as it's currently constructed up with anybody in the Missouri Valley. I think our facility is as good or better than anybody in the Missouri Valley. So it's definitely a great place to watch, and honestly, not a bad seat in the house. Except that they're by you, then all the complaining. But outside of sitting next to you, there is not a bad seat in the house.
Well, Coach, of course, hopefully our viewers have seen the Holman Center. If they're not, you got to get out there and see the Sycamores. A lot of opportunities. We're going to talk about those upcoming games, but it is bright in there, Coach. So as from your coaching perspective, has that been any adjustment for you? I haven't noticed you with sunglasses yet on the sideline, but it is a lot brighter in there. Is that
the light off my head is reflecting more? I think that's the concern. That's the biggest concern. Is
a lot of complaints.
A lot of people complain about the light reflecting off my head and blinding people. So trying to navigate that. It is way brighter, and I think it's interesting now when you go on the road, other places, you're like, man, it's dark in here, but it's really probably not dark. It just feels dark compared to the Holman Center. And but no, I think our guys have acclimated well. The thing, anything that's a little bit unique, and I think the shooting background, the Holman Center is a little bit unique, and the lighting, stuff that would throw opponents off that as you practice in there, you gain familiarity with, can be a benefit. It can, anything that's just a little bit different in your facility that maybe other people don't have. So the fact that it's bright, or the fact the shooting background's a little different in an arena like that, I think is something that's a positive for us, because maybe, somebody comes in and they maybe shoot in there for an hour before the game the day before, but they're not going to have the same level, of comfortability that we do with all the, the bells and whistles that exist in the Holman Center. And so, but definitely much, much brighter than it was. And that Jumbotron, like I said, is is a game changer. It really is, not just because of the jumbotron, but all the things around it. It just has spruced it up to a whole nother level. And again, facilities as good as any in our conference.
So if you haven't been out to see the Holman Center for the aesthetics, the building itself, you need to get in there, get to a game so you can see how beautiful of a facility it really is. Of course, they also would have an opportunity to watch some excellent basketball. So talk about how proud you've been of your team and how the season started, and what our viewers could expect if they come in and see the Sycamores compete.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously early. We're 10 games in, but so we're about a little less than a third of the way through our schedule. But off to a really good start. 9-1. Really, probably could be 10-0. Lost a game by 2. We had all kinds of chances to win.
I thought you might say that as a perfectionist as you are, Coach, but that's
But
right.
yeah, I remember that vividly each play. But I think it's a group that's really competitive. It's a group that I think is entertaining to watch. We're averaging close to 85 points a game. I think 84.6 or something like that per game. It's a group that really shares the ball, that plays the right way. Lead the conference in assists, one of the top assist teams in the country. It defends, plays hard. I think it represents the things, as a fan, that you would want from a group that plays unselfishly, plays hard, plays a team, plays fast, and then again that competitive spirit. And I think it's really manifested itself. When you kind of know when you start a year, what your talent level is, what your character level is, what your depth is as a group. And then all the other questions about if you're going to be a good team have to be answered in competition. And one of the things is, what's our collective resilience? What's our collective grit going to be? How are we going to respond to successes and failures? There's a lot of things that go into that. How are guys going to sacrifice and, give up for the team and enjoy each other's success? Those type of things. And, Drake game, we're up 14, and all of a sudden we're down 5 with under 3 minutes to play, and we find a way back to win that game. In Southern Illinois, we're up 14 and we're down late, and we find a way on the road, which we, had won there, I think 11 times, and the last 60 sometimes we'd been there. So the collective resilience, the collective grit, it's a group that's got some mental toughness and a good competitive spirit about it. So I think there's a lot to like, and it's hopefully people come in, and once they come see us once, they'll be hooked and come back.
So you've of course had to go on the road and play at some hostile environments and places, as you said, the Sycamores have struggled over the years, and also go to a neutral site. Can you talk about that trip and how important that is, not only this year but in the future, those kinds of trips?
Yeah, I think those what they call MTEs, multi-team events, is so. And in the Missouri Valley, you're required to play one every year. And this year we got to go to Florida. We got to go to Fort Myers. Really good mid-major field. It had Toledo, who's top 70 team. It obviously had Florida Gulf Coast, had Drexel, we played East Carolina down there in the first round, and beat East Carolina in a really good game. And then Toledo was really by everybody picked to be probably the best team in the event. They're, like I said, we're undefeated in the top, definitely in the top 75 in the country. And Missouri, Kansas City upset them in the first round by 12, and then we wound up losing that game to Missouri, Kansas City by 2. That was the one I mentioned that I we had kind of every chance to win and didn't. And then we played Drexel, who's got a really good team out of Philadelphia, and beat Drexel in a really good game to finish third. And those trips are great because it's a great way. Like usually it's in a really nice location. It's a great time for the fans to get away, and for the team it's good when you get guys away for a 5-day window where it's just you and you get to spend time with each other, and you eat together and you're playing those games, and you have those 5 days kind of away from everything and just immerse with each other. It's a great team building opportunity, and 3 games in 3 days, as having played and then having, son who plays professional sports, players hate practice. They like to play. Yeah. They want to be in the games and competing. And so for them, 3 games in 3 days is about as good as it gets. Absolutely. And don't have to listen to me, no practice. So everybody was thrilled.
Of course, your personality and your dashing good looks, I'm sure, are such a huge factor in your recruiting, but is the...
Probably don't have any signees.
So are those kind of events a recruiting tool for you, Coach?
For sure. I think, you're trying to sell, where you're going and what you're doing. And yeah, it's all part of that packaging, that sell. I mean, we went to Myrtle Beach my first year, Florida this year. We're looking at some different options, potentially, here, maybe, Vegas, Bahamas, things like that for next year. And we try to make it where it's a cool trip where, hey, our fan base would want to travel to. And of course, you want to sell everything in recruiting. Who are we playing? Where are we playing? What style do we play? All that goes back to, the nothing works without players. You can have you can play in the Ritz-Carlton. You can have all the bells and whistles. You don't have good players. It doesn't matter. And so everything you can do to help you in recruiting, you're always going to, sell. And I think these tournaments and the competition and where you go is a big piece of trying to attract the kind of student athletes that we want here at Indiana State.
So as I said already this season, you've gone to some hostile environments and had success. I know you've got a lot of coaching secrets you'll hold up. Is there any in particular thing you could share with our viewing audience about a real key when you're going to those kind of environments to have success, particularly when you've got new and or young players on your squad?
I think the thing you always do is you try to focus on the things you can control, and we talk a lot about playing present, and it's a big deal in our program. To when you look at it, we really focus in on, can you play each possession as hard as you possibly can, and then just make the next right play. Because you're going to have good plays and you're going to have bad plays. And if you make a good play and you're, celebrating and, running around, and well, you're not going to be focused on the next play. And if you make a bad play, if you make the next right, and then you compound it by not being focused, anything that distracts you from the next possession is devastating. And so that's all we really talk about, playing present, trying to we always make the next play as hard as you possibly can, make the next right play. And if you could stay locked into that all game and not ride the emotional roller coaster of made a three, missed a three, turned it over, made a great play, whatever, it gives you the best chance to play present. And if you're playing present and you're playing present every possession, it gives you the best chance at the end to, for the outcome to be what you want it to be. And so we try to really lock into that.
That also must be the way the coach applies himself too. I think there was a recent game. I think the Sycamores might have been up by about 30, and yet you call a timeout. Looks like you had a very stern conversation with maybe the defensive effort, one of your players. So
we're just talking dinner plans. We're talking about were we going to Stables? Do we want to go to Jay Ford's? What was our post game? No, yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I think you have to. I talked to them about not worrying about the scoreboard and really trying to hone in on doing your job at the highest level every possession and trying to build the right habits. And if your level of effort, your level of focus is dictated by the scoreboard, then you're not trying to be the best player you can be. And I'm doing the team a disservice if I allow the scoreboard to affect, my level of focus, or my standards drop because we're up by 30 points, or we were up 30 points at halftime at Miami of Ohio. And I was, pissed the whole second half because
that's why you're still hoarse.
That's right. That's why I'm still hoarse, because I'm still upset about that. So the whole second half, I didn't think our intensity level was near what it was. And again, that's human nature. But if you really want to be elite and you want to be special, and special is not for everybody, then a big part of being special is you have to fight human nature and overcome human nature, which is to say, hey, we're up 30 points. Now's the time to take it easy. Now's the time to take our foot off the gas pedal. Now's the time to, lose intensity, lose focus. But then when you do that, you're developing bad habits that then come back and bite you in a different situation, different game. So that's something that we really, preach to our guys. And ultimately, it's on me to set the example for, that's how we're going to operate. That's the standards we're going to have for each other. And I want to hold them accountable, and I got to hold myself accountable to that same standard.
You've had tremendous success as a coach, and I know you've heard you say that before. You talk about the commitment and the hard work and the effort that takes when you're having success, because oftentimes human nature is to kind of coast or relax about that. So That's
Yeah.
something you're dealing with, I'm sure, now, in particular with the players that may have not had, or they're just being introduced to the same success you've had as a coach.
Yeah, I think success is a lot of times harder to handle than failure, right? For every person, for every one that can handle failure, or every 100 that can handle failure, one can handle prosperity, right? And I think a lot of times, we're tested by, by praise, by success, and your ability to stay process oriented. With our teams, that's what Kaizen. It obviously means a commitment to continual improvement is what it means in Japanese. But when we talk about our process inside of it, it's really two things. And I want them to stay completely immersed in that is, daily improvement and putting your signature on your work every single day, like the best you can do every single day. And I really believe with everything in my being, if you can stay focused on how can I be better today? How can I get better today? And how can I, put in my signature on my work every single day? And you get enough people in the building that buy into that and aren't moved by all the, we won this game. Because the reality with the Drake game, we had a 14-point lead. We got down 5. We rallied back, and we made one of the worst bonehead decisions in a press break ever to throw the ball out of bounds. And it was deflected out of bounds. All we had to do was throw it deep, and we win the game. And we discussed in the huddle, and we broke off and kind of did our own thing, and ball went out of bounds, and they got a shot. Well, if that shot goes in by Tucker DeVries, it was missed by an inch to the left. If it's an inch to the right, I'm an idiot and they're chokers. It missed to the left, so I'm a genius and they're great. And all that's pretty fickle. You can't get caught. The previous 39 minutes, 59 seconds, that shot goes in the air. If that ball misses, it doesn't mean everything was good. And if he made it, doesn't mean everything was bad. The outcome doesn't dictate, or negate what happened before, the good or the bad. And so that's where you got to really get guys to lock into in season. And I tell them all the time, seasons are noisy. When you're successful, they're noisy because people are praising you and giving you. And when you're bad, seasons are noisy. People are criticizing you and you stink and you're the worst thing ever. And, and the key is, you're in 3 modes: preparation, which we are right now for Southern Indiana; competing, which we'll do Sunday afternoon; and then learning, which we'll do through the film, individual and collective. And as soon as that film is done, and we've done our individual film and our team film, we have to be able to move past it, whatever the outcome is. And the only game that really will matter at that point is the next one, which will be Duquesne. And to think about anything that happened or is coming, that's the worst thing you can do to have. The hardest thing in life is sustained high-level performance. That's the hardest thing to achieve in any endeavor. It doesn't matter if it's anything you're doing. Sustained, consistent, high-level performance is the hardest thing in life to achieve because of all those factors. And so to do it, you have to really be able to block out all the external stuff as best you can.
I'm assuming you talked to your team about that after the Drake, as you watched film about that and the way it ended and that very analogy. Of course, I assume you must feel that your team responded to that as they responded at Southern, and again, in a situation where you're up, down, and then fight back and come out with a win.
Well, I think one of the questions on a team is, how are you going to respond to successes? And if there's inevitable bumps in the road, you're going to have those. How do you respond to those, and how do you respond to success? Because the biggest concern leaving the Drake game was they were going to get a lot of praise because they beat Drake, which, deservedly so. It's a really good win against a great team, great program. And then everybody was going to either be living in that, and then everybody's going to be fast forwarding to Southern, which is coming up the next Wednesday. And how many people were going to be locked into Miami of Ohio, which was on Saturday, right? And so that's where we're talking about, dead yesterdays, unborn tomorrows. Are you living in dead yesterdays? Are you living in unborn tomorrows? Or are you engaged in what we have control over now? And that was our preparation for Miami of Ohio, because that was the next turn at bat. And everyone else is talking about, well, what a great game. I can't believe, you guys did this. And then everybody else is talking about, well, Southern on Wednesday, can we go on the road and play? And no one's talking about Miami of Ohio, which was our next turn at bat, our next opportunity. And I thought our guys did a great job, because to come in there on the road, we're up 58-28 at halftime. We couldn't have been more focused, couldn't have been more locked in. And so that collective resilience and grit that we demonstrated against Drake in Southern Illinois, great. As impressive to me was the ability to handle the success against Drake and then respond the way we did against Miami of Ohio. Because now, we beat Southern Illinois, and now, now can we put that behind us and get ready for Southern Indiana? Because it's going to take that level of preparation, that detail, that focus to be able to play our best and be able to perform our best. And you got to pay the price. That's the difference in sports is, it's not like a restaurant where you go and you eat and then you pay the bill after. In sports, to be successful, you got to pay the price up front. Everything is paying the price beforehand. And so you pay the price up front and then you get the opportunity to have success. It doesn't work like that a lot of things in life, but that's the way sports works.
Of course, you guys have been road warriors and continue to be road warriors. And when you come back to the friendly confines of Holman Center, we're encouraging our viewers and all their friends and families to come out and support the Sycamores. Can you talk from a coaching perspective of the importance of that environment and having the people in the community come out to support your team?
Yeah, I think it's been this year for me, it's obviously my second year. So the first year, I think COVID restrictions were coming off and it was still a little bit of that, and we weren't very good, and we didn't have a great atmosphere in there. The 5 home games that we've had have been fantastic, and I thought the Drake game was head and shoulders the best of those 5. And I mean this sincerely, like without the crowd that we had and the atmosphere and energy, and we don't win that game against Drake. I don't think we win that game. I mean, the way they supported us when we got down, that when Robbie Avila hits that 3 to pull us within 2, that was the loudest I've ever heard. I know it's 2 years, but the loudest I've ever heard the Holman Center. And the energy, our players feed off that. And there's 2 things that make a really good home court environment. One is a good team, because without that, it doesn't matter. And then the second aspect is the atmosphere and environment that your fans can create. And when you have those 2 things working in concert, those are the hardest places to play. When you got a really good team and you got fans that are engaged and energetic, and it's a tough environment, those are the hardest places to play. And that's what we want to make the Holman Center. We got to do our part. We got to be a good team. I get that. And then the fans aspect is bring the energy, create an atmosphere that's really difficult for opponents to play in, and make it a place where everybody goes, man, I don't want to go to the Holman Center. That's that place. You can't win there. And when I was at LMU, I was there 13 years. It started off low, and then we got to where I thought we created that atmosphere. And if you look at the end, I think my tenure there, we were 188-16 at home, and wow. That was a huge part of our success. But we had really good players, and we had a great environment, and that combination made a hard place to play.
Of course, you're doing your part with a great team, Coach, and we got to get our viewership out there to support the Sycamores. Of course, you're working awful hard, and I know not only during the games, but as you say, the preparation and all the film study and coaching and training. And I know you can't speak to specific recruiting or recruits, but you're still, of course, having to go through that. People don't probably appreciate that you're still recruiting during all this time when you're coaching games, getting ready for the next opponent. Talk
Yep.
about the challenges of that.
Well, recruiting is basically a 365-day-a-year deal. We have signed 4 guys early, and we really excited about those 4. We signed a player in Kansas, #1 ranked player in the state of Kansas, kid named Eli Shetler. We think the world of kid out of Kansas City, Cam Onyawu, we love, and then 2 others, Jaden Daughtry, who plays at Hargrave Military Academy, and then Derek Borst, 6'10" kid from Ohio. And those guys will all be freshmen here next year. And so for us to go out and get 4 players of that caliber is fantastic. Beat some really good schools. Robbie Avila came down to us in Northern Iowa last year, and we were able to get him. Derek Vorst came down to us in Northern Iowa this year. We were able to get him. So,
awesome.
I think another big 6'10" that can shoot it and is a really good player. And, we feel really good about what we've done, and certainly we got some work to do in the spring because we have a lot of seniors. And you never know about attrition in today's world with the portal and everything else. So our hard work's ahead of us because we lose a lot of really good players. But recruiting is, whether it's engaged with 2023s, 2024s, that process already started. We've had those visits and going out and seeing kids, and that's just something that's an everyday part of your life. Recruiting, watching film on recruits, meeting about recruiting, talking to recruits and their families, and that's while you're in season, that's an everyday deal. And there's nothing that we do as a program that's more important than that, because as if If you don't have the players, you can't, the best you can do as a coach is maximize the group you have. If you don't have good players, you maximize them, you're bad. So, no one wins without great players. And which is true. There's never been a Hall of Fame coach that didn't coach multiple Hall of Fame players, multiple Hall of Fame players. There's plenty of Hall of Fame players who never played for a Hall of Fame coach. So if you ever wonder which is more important, it's the players. And so everything we do every day is designed about how to get us the best players here that fit, Indiana State, because, they have to fit the school, fit Terre Haute, and try to fit, our culture and how we want to play, which is, a little bit unique.
How would recruiting fall into your list of favorite things to do about coaching?
How many things are there? I'll say this, probably not I like being on the court and the basketball, the relational side, all way more than recruiting. So while recruiting probably would be down the list of my favorite things to do, it's always the most important thing I do every day. And because ultimately, I want to be successful here. I want to build a program in Indiana State that wins on the court, but I want to build a program that people are proud of in terms of how we perform academically and the kind of kids we have and all those aspects. And, culture is people. So we want to have a good culture. People think culture is words or whatever, because then culture is people and behaviors, right, and actions. And so every day I get up, that's at the forefront of my mind is recruiting. And while, so like I said, down the list of things I enjoy, I also recognize that nothing works without that.
How about the part of the recruiting, though, when you're going into some of these old gyms and watching high school games? That's something, getting a bag of popcorn you still enjoy?
That I enjoy, yeah. That I enjoy. I enjoy the aspect of recruiting of, meeting the families, going to the high school gyms. You get to watch kids. I like those aspects. Now, spending 15 hours a day in July, sitting in gyms, watching AAU basketball and getting phone calls all day and night. Some of that's not as exciting, but the aspect of going to a game and grabbing a bat and evaluating a kid and finding a kid that, maybe he's under the radar and you like him, or you go and, I remember last year watching, Robbie Avila. I went to Chicago, and I was watching a event, and an assistant had said, "Did you check this kid out?" And I called them at halftime, and I said, this guy, I don't think we can get him, but he's perfect, for how I want to play. And, and then you develop and you get to know him and his family, and you make a bunch of trips to Chicago. And, I think I went every week last year in the fall to Chicago, and ZB went. And so we alternated. We went about twice a week, or I guess every other week. So it was every other week up to Chicago to see him. And it was just, we spent a ton of time trying to, invest and recruit him. And so when you meet people like that, and him and his family, great people, Juan and Katie, and that aspect I love of it. And going to old gyms and grabbing a bag of popcorn and watching kids play and that stuff, that part's enjoyable.
Yeah, it's always found that fascinating. Coaches such as yourself been so successful, but done it for so many years and still enjoy going to those places and watching those games, that you find that so enticing. But you've done a great job with that. Of course, you talk about your style of play, and how has that helped you with regard to recruiting and looking at the guys you've come in? They've seemed to respond to that style of play great.
Yeah, I think we play unique probably from most college teams. I turn a lot of it over to the players. I probably give them more freedom and leeway than than anybody. We don't really play with patterns. It's more rhythm. It's like jazz. It's improv, and it's guys reading each other, and guys a lot of times, as in football, analogy, there's a lot of patterns. We're going to go out and basketball is played generally, go out and teach somebody, teach a team 50, 60 plays, and you run your patterns, and then, you hope your patterns work. And if your patterns don't work, then you kind of at the end improvise. And it's not chaos, but the way I frame it is organized randomness. And so we want to be random. We want to have organization to it. We try to give them structure and concepts, but the biggest thing is you're teaching guys how to play as opposed to plays. And so it's counterintuitively, it's harder to teach people how to play than it is to just teach them a bunch of patterns, because people can learn patterns. It's hard to learn, but we're playing Southern Illinois and they're switching everything 5. I don't think you should go into a game and have to have 50 patterns to try to counter, you just teach them how to play against switching, and then give them some concepts, let them choose the concepts and make the reads of how to play against, switching. And that's what we do. And so whatever the defense does, there's only, so many things they can do. We try to teach them how to counter and react to those things, and then play with pace, and then you try to recruit guys that fit the skill level we have, and the intelligence and unselfishness and all those things. We try to make sure we recruit guys that systematically fit, got high IQ guys that are really skilled, really unselfish.
Is that similar to what they're doing on the professional level, Coach?
Yeah, that's really what it is. I mean, it's become because they play with a shorter shot clock. But yeah, most of my friends and guys that I talk ball with are at the NBA level or Euro League, and that's really, I don't, not in the sanctimonious way. Like, I don't watch much college basketball, just because I don't enjoy it as much. I really enjoy. I think players want to play where coaches tend to micromanage things. They tend to overcoach, and I think you should do your coaching in practice. And we're trying, and then I think players enjoy, and I've enjoyed, teaching them, like you try to teach them how to play. And then what happens is, when you play good teams and you run your patterns, good teams that scout well, and they're going to take away your patterns. You're not going to score on maybe once or twice a game. You're not going to score on, so then you have to get to something else anyway. My thing is, why not get good at the something else and bypass the patterns? And so we run stuff, dead ball, free throw, ATOs. I want to slow it down and do something maybe the last 4 minutes of a game, tight game. I want to get the ball to certain players. But for the most part, they're playing inside of this, this rhythm, and they're playing inside of these structures, and then they're making all the reads themselves. And again, in practice, we're drilling them on what the reads are, but then so they can do it in real time. And to me, it's when we look at it, what we did at LMU, we had more guys. My last, 8-9 years there, and from a D2 in the NBA and pros than any Missouri Valley school. Yeah. And I think a big reason that our guys had that success at the next level was because they were playing in a pro style system that really prepared them. And so in recruiting, you can sell that. And now last year was harder, but now people are trying to see how we play. And I think that was a big reason Robbie Avila's here. I mean, it was because, Robbie Avila comes because of, a system. I think that was ultimately because I hadn't coached a game when he signed with us. When he signed with us last November, I hadn't even coached a single game in Indiana State. And Northern Iowa's been the Sweet 16s, and Ben Jacobson's, probably the winningest coach history in Missouri Valley. And he's, been 5-time coach of the year and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, I think the tipping point was this system and how he would be utilized and how we play.
I was kind of still think it's your sense of humor, but maybe I'm wrong.
It was a good looks. It was a dashing. Most of it's the moms are just like, this guy's so good looking. How can we not send our son with him?
Well, everybody's excited in the community for good reason, and I'm looking ahead because we're going to have such success. I figure there's going to be a movie made on the team and the season, so yeah, we might need to lock up who's going to play you. So, I mean, should I call Tom Cruise now, or what do you think?
I was thinking Tom Cruise is fine because the height, we have similar height, but I also think like you have Brad Pitt, you have George Clooney.
Okay, those are. Okay.
I mean, I'm not, and maybe even those are the two main guys. Okay, those two main guys, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, and then if they turn it down or they're busy for some reason, then Tom Cruise would be like a backup.
So we will check with our crack crew here so we can start putting feelers out for those guys. Now we got some great games coming up, Coach. I know you're taking them one at a time, but if we can look ahead to ones down the road here, that when they're back in Terre Haute, we want to get people on the road going down to support you on the road, but we definitely want to fill the home and center. So let's talk about those upcoming games we've got coming up end of December, around the holidays, early January. There's a package out there they can purchase and come out. So talk about that.
Yeah, I think they've done a 3-game package that over holiday break where the students are gone. We have Northern Illinois here on December 22nd. And then we play, we have Christmas break, and then we come back. We have Evansville at home, so league play starts back on December 29th. And then I believe our next home game after that is January, I want to say it's 4th, I think it's right. And that'll be home against, I believe, Illinois, Chicago on the 4th. So those are the next 3 home games. There won't be any students here, obviously with Christmas break. So, but 3 massive, games. I mean, Northern Illinois, last non-conference game, and then we all know the Missouri Valley, that 20-game gauntlet. Those games count the same as Drake and Southern Illinois and the ones to come. So we really want to take care of our business and have great crowds for the Evansville game, for the Illinois-Chicago game, and of course Northern Illinois as we come back off this 4-game road swing, which we're halfway through and got these last 2.
Well, remember to come out. Like I said, the students won't be there for those games probably. They'll be off visiting with their family. So we need everybody to come out. Tell your family and friends to come out to the Holman Center and support the Sycamores. High character team you got. Great players, and coaching's not too shabby either.
Coaching's the least of those things, but great players who are carrying the coach, trying to make them look smart. So we appreciate it. But yeah, the support, please come out, be there, and be loud. And it really, like I said, I think it's a team worthy of their support.
And wear your blue. So final thoughts for our viewers, Coach.
Yeah, no, I just listen. It's got a chance to be a fun journey here, and I think we got a chance to do some special things. And Indiana State is basketball, particularly, is intertwined in this community, and it doesn't. That's I think what makes this a special place to play and a special place to coach is that blend there with the community and that mix of the community and how the community supports our kids and how much they care and their passion. So I think it's got a chance to be a fun couple months. We got a really good team. It's a really good league. We got some unbelievable challenges ahead, but come out, support us, and we'll put everything we have into trying to make everybody proud.
Well, Coach, we sure appreciate you coming in and joining us. We hope you and your family have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we're looking forward to coming out and cheering you and your squad on in the Holman Center. So good luck to you as you move forward. This has been a great chat. We hope everybody has a great Christmas, and wear your blue. Get some gifts from the Sycamore shop and put that blue on and come out in Holman Center. Let's support the coach and his squad. You won't be disappointed. So until our next chat, I'm Joe Etling. Thanks for tuning in. God bless you all. Have a great night.
OCRATIC. Everything you need to know about the Vigo Dem party. So sit back, relax, and watch.